Hey everyone, how's it? Oh, hold on. Hey everyone, how's it going? We're always Guzzy here, back with another video for you all today. And as you saw in the title, today we're going to be talking about Squid Game. Just Squid Game in general. Season 1, Season 2, doesn't matter. But I just have Squid Game in my mind so much right now that I'm so excited and I just want to talk about it. And I talked about it with my friend yesterday because I had went over to her house to pick up a few things. But we were talking about it and I was like, man, I just want to like talk about it even more. So that's why we're here today, so y'all can put y'all's input as well. This is just going to be a random video, like a random ramble video. Nothing too crucial, not like a video essay, you know what I mean? And I know I look really raggedy. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a haircut on the way because I kind of wanted to like have like long hair, like curly hair, but I don't think it worked out for me. But at least I tried it, you always gotta try stuff out in life because you're never gonna know if it's gonna work or not. But okay, moving forward with the video. So, and spoilers, of course, spoiler warning. When Squid Game Season 2 was announced, I'm gonna be honest, I did not have any sort of anticipation for the season. Which is weird because the show kind of does end off like on a cliffhanger, so it kind of has this mentality of like, oh, like the show was always going to like continue, right? Like it was always going to be another season, right? But in my personal like opinion, I just saw it as a cash grab, right? Because Netflix saw how successful Squid Game was, and when I say Squid Game was successful, it was successful. I mean, my goodness. Like, within the 2020s decade, Squid Game is definitely on top of, like, media, right? Because Squid Game is a South Korean project. So, South Korean projects typically don't get that massive an appeal, right? But Squid Game did, so Squid Game got like a worldwide reception, like everyone loved Squid Game. Like it didn't matter if you were South Korean or not, you were gonna love Squid Game, right? So with that ideology and prospect, I was like, man, I think Netflix is just like really milking Squid Game as much as they can, and they just immediately ordered a season 2. Like, hey, we need a season 2 because Squid Game is like making us a lot of money, and we need it now, But surprisingly, they did take a while for Squid Game to cook, season 2 to cook, because, we ended up waiting till like the end of 2024. So almost like, I guess 3 years. It's really 3 years, but like, now that we're in 2025, it's like, oh shit, that was a little while, right? But around this time when the trailers were like being shown, blah, 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 I didn't really care. I was like, like I had this mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, but am I hyped for it? Am I stoked for it? Not necessarily, no. And that was another thing that people are concerned about as well, right? Because Squid Game kind of did release like in the peak of COVID. So coronavirus was still like pretty prominent when it came out. Like quarantine was still in place. Masks are still being worn. There wasn't necessarily like dining in yet, or like there was, but like to a limit. Graduations, proms, they were still not necessarily, they were like, excuse me, they were limited, right? um so a lot of people are like, oh well, by the time season 2 comes out, the hype is kind of going to be dead, which is true. Because I feel like season 2 like is popular, but it is nowhere near the same popularity that it was with season 1. Like everyone and their mom is not talking about season 2 like how everyone and their mom was talking about season 1, right? But season 2, surprisingly, I'm very glad that I'm wrong, because season 2 surprised me. It was absolutely phenomenal. Now, is it better than season 1? No. No, it's not. By a long shot, no. But is it good? Yes. Does it keep the series fresh? Absolutely. Do I want to see more? Yes. Yes, I do. Now, unfortunately, season 2 does have its weaknesses, and when you compare it to season 1, it's very prominent. One of the biggest prospects about season 2 that people bring up, which I do think is it's a good point. It's a good point that people express. And it's the fact that in season 2, the cast of characters aren't just really there. Like, yeah, people like Thanos. Yeah, people like, or they don't like the crypto guy, but the crypto guy has like a presence. You know what I mean? But when you compare it to season 1, it's obviously a day and night difference. Ali is a very strong character. Sang Woo is a very strong character. Il Nam, the old man. The woman, Deku Shea, the gangster guy, right? But when you look at season 1, season 1 definitely has more emphasis on the side characters, right? Like they take the time and effort to like look at their perspectives, and then in season 2, we're kind of just thrown into the games, and we don't really get a chance to have one-on-one with these characters. Now, I do think the characters are intriguing. The mom and son duo, Thanos was funny, the pregnant woman, right? But of course, in comparison, these characters are far, far weaker, right? Now, it was actually interesting because like I saw this analysis about someone who watched season 2, and to be honest, maybe it is like looking into it too much, but someone was saying how it's not really like a poor writing decision. It's more in the sense of it being intentional, right? Because we're looking at this from Guy Hun's perspective, the main character. So, in season 2, he's obviously more like serious. He's in the games for the sole reason of ending them, not to like play, So of course, like in his perspective, he's like, oh well, I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to like focus on everyone. Like I just want to I want to end this, like I want these games to stop, But then in season 1, he was more humble, right? Because obviously he was a poor man at the time, and he wanted to win, So he wanted to like continue to a degree. So, that is kind of interesting if you put it in that prospect. Like, was it intentional that the side characters were kind of like undermined to kind of like make that not hyperbole, like metaphor, right? Like that kind of like put the message more in your face, right? It is interesting. Um, but yeah, other than that, well, actually, no. Another thing too is that season two definitely felt more like a season two part one type deal versus like an actual like coherent season, because I feel like the season ended on a like flat note. Like it wasn't like such like a grand slam finale. Does that make sense? But the good news is that apparently season three is like right around the corner, because they filmed season two and three simultaneously, like Endgame and Infinity War. So that's why I'm not really like so focused on that, because I do think Netflix is just gonna release season three as soon as possible. Because according to articles, it is supposed to come out in like summer next year, or this year, currently 2025. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, but with that in mind, it doesn't really make like season two like feel as like make it as bad, right? Because like once season three comes out, we'll probably appreciate season two a lot more, because then it'll connect all the dots. Does that make sense? But see, that's the thing. In season two, there are some like weird plot devices that it just kind of feels random, you know like you watch it and then you forget about it, and then when they bring it back up, you're like, oh, I forgot about that. you know uh the perfect example that I can think of is the guard lady, right? Because they start off the series with like having an emphasis on this woman, right? And her backstory is like, oh, she left a child behind apparently. She's like doing everything she can to like look for the child. And then it turns out she's like a guard for the games. She seems to like kill people like it's nothing, blah, blah, blah. But the show just kind of, or the season just kind of ends, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess, same thing with the cop story, right? With Guy Hun's rescue team, it kind of just ends off on them just like hanging out, and that's it. I mean, yeah, we do find out that the captain is fake and that he's like a part of it, but other than that, it's like, oh, okay, it just felt a little weird, like for instance, like I feel like most people didn't care for like the guard lady, or like they were just like kind of like a little confused, like what are we supposed to feel? Like, are we supposed to feel bad for her? Are we supposed to not feel bad for her? I mean, like, what exactly like are they setting up here? Because we do know the dad of the sick child is in the games, so it's possible that that she saves them, maybe. I think that would be interesting. But that's besides the point. But other than that, it was really good. The acting was top notch. Definitely the best scene in season two was the Russian roulette scene with the recruiter, because that man is such a talented actor. Apparently, he's like the most expensive actor in Asia. So that's probably why they killed him off so early. But I mean, like, my God, did he do an awesome performance in that one episode alone? And I also like how they give us like more of a look into his character, because like in season one you think, oh, he's a chill guy, or like he's trying to help Guy Hun, but then in season two you're like, oh my God, this guy is crazy. he is like pure psychotic, because when he's playing Russian roulette with Gaihun, he just seems like so like done. You know what I mean? Like he's like beyond saving, right? Like he has this mentality of like, okay, I'm gonna play this game either winning or losing, but I don't care. So like if he died, then so be it. If he lived, so be it. But like when he's playing the game with Gaihun, he's like so he's just crazy. Like he like reveals how like he killed his dad, right? But then he like goes on to be like, oh well, I did it for fun, and it's like, damn, dude, like what the shit? And then when he's like pointing a gun at himself, he like does it like in like I don't know how to say it, but he does it in a way where like he's like low key like enjoying it. Like I don't know. I don't know. But I thought that was really cool. As a matter of fact, episode 1 was really cool, and I kind of do wish that kind of was like what the show was about. Like I kind of wish it was more in the sense of like it's Gaihun and his team like trying to track down the games. But I mean, I'm still glad like we got a little glimpse of that, and I'm also glad that we got to see new games in the series. I think my favorite game was probably Mingle Mingle. The game where like you have to choose, like it says like a number of people and you have to go in the room. I think the reason why that's my favorite game is because I was probably like the most that was the most like thrilling game. It was like, oh wow, people are like gonna die, and like I was on my toes the whole time. Like when you think the mom's gonna die, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then she gets saved at the last second. I just thought it was really cool. But like actually, going back to like the whole character thing, now I'm starting to remember, right? I'm starting to remember more, because another thing as well in this show is that the character deaths, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really care for them, and like, of course they're sad, like at the end of the day, like these are like characters that these are good characters dying, so of course it's sad in that sense, but like in terms of impact, right, they just did not really have an impact, like compared to season 1, right? In season 1, you cry for Ali, you cry for the woman who like sacrifices herself in the marble game, you cry for say Byok, right? Like you feel sad because they did a better job at like making you care for those characters, but then in season 2, you barely have time with that young woman, and the only instance you like feel bad for her is when she's crying in the bathroom, or like no, she's crying, that's the pregnant woman, she's crying like saying like, I just don't want to like play anymore, I want to go home, and then the transgender character like of course decides to keep playing, and she kind of feels guilty, because she's like, oh shit, I'm responsible for this person's death, like to a degree, because I voted to stay, right? Another death as well was what was the other one? There was another one that I had in mind. Oh, okay, I don't remember her name, but she was kind of like this like badass chick, and she always tries to like talk to the shy guy who's like kind of scared of everything. Yeah, her. They kind of try to like portray her death as like this like major thing in the show. And I'm not gonna lie, her death works a lot better than the other one, because like the scaredy cat character like makes the scene better, right? Because like deep down he really wants to like save her, but he just doesn't have the confidence in himself to do it, right? Like he's too scared, but he tries, but obviously it's to no avail, right? And then she dies like pretty brutally. Like, I'm not gonna lie, her death was done a lot better, but still, still, I kind of feel like she just dies and it's like, okay, well, moving on, like because we didn't really have that much screen time with her. But the way they present her death, like, it's almost as if like they want you to care about it. Like they want you to care as much as you did for Ali. You know what I'm saying? Like, to that degree, which obviously isn't going to work. Because we barely got any time with her. Like, we barely see her. But yeah, you know, the games were pretty cool. I think probably like the best highlight about this series was definitely the front man, player one, because it was just interesting, like seeing him like play the games and like, at some points you like kind of feel like he's genuine, and maybe he is, maybe he does portray genuineness at times. Like, I do think to a degree he kind of did care for like his team at some point. Because like for instance, like in Mingle Mingle, like he kills a man so that Guy Hun's best friend can live. And of course that's like pretty sadistic, obviously. But it kind of like shows to a degree like, oh, like he cares enough to like let the best friend live, like if he really didn't care, he would have just like pushed the best friend out of the room, but of course the guards ultimately kill, or no, I think actually, yeah, he does kill the best friend himself later in the series, when he puts his mask on. So I don't know. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what makes this character so interesting, because it's like, okay, is he serious? Is he not serious? I mean, who knows. But I do think in that one scene when he's like celebrating with Guy Hun, like for the Mingle Mingle game, I do think that was like him being genuine. I do think he was like super into it, and he was like he was rooting for them. He was like, yeah, like I want you guys to win. Y'all are so close. Go go go. Like he was pumped. I do think that was a genuine moment from him. I don't necessarily think he was pretending. But of course, he was kind of pretending throughout the series. One neat detail that a lot of people like to point out is whenever it's that one game where he has to do the spinning top, he's a lefty, right? But throughout the game, he like constantly uses his right hand, and then at the end, that's when he uses his left hand, and he happens to get it, right? So a lot of people were expressing how that's just him like pretending to like be like sucky, like maybe to like make them like feel like, oh, like he's genuine, or like he just wanted to mess around. Like, I don't know. But I mean, it was intentional, right? Like, he was obviously like trying to slow them down to a degree, or like just kind of like he just did it for the fun of it, like who knows that there was like an actual reason behind it, other than the fact that we know it was on purpose. Excuse me, But I definitely do think that was the strongest aspect of season 2, because it's all this like mental battle between Guy Hun and the front man, right? Because the front man wants to prove a point, and he's gonna go as far as to like play the games himself to show Guy Hun like, oh, like you're wrong. Like you shouldn't have came back. Not only am I gonna kill you, but I'm gonna like make sure that like you learn your lesson before I do the deed. You know what I mean? And I just think that's interesting, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, Guy Hun is kind of a hypocrite. He's kind of a hypocrite, right? Because at the end of the series, he knows that the opposing team is going to attack them, right? So they have this plan of like, okay, let's just like defend ourselves and like, you know, kill them like in self-defense, and then we'll like go about our plan and like execute the plan and you know, go about like taking over the games, right? Because they wanted to like kill the guards and like to end the game, you know. But um but instead what Gaihan decides to do is he says, okay, how about we sacrifice our own team members? We don't tell them shit, right? We basically use them as bait. So that way the opposing team kills them and like the guards are like just focused on them. And you know, we pretend to be dead and like that's when we like take their guns and shoot the guards, you know? And it's funny because the front man like questions him and he's like, huh, you know, that doesn't really sound moral. But then Gaihun is like, well, it's like for a bigger sacrifice, you know, like we're doing the greater good, you know? But it's like, Gaihun, like, I'm not gonna lie, brother, like what you're saying is kind of stupid, you know, because think about it like this, right? He would come out as a better person if he went about it by telling his team, hey, you know, let's all work together, right? Let's all work together. Let's defend ourselves from the opposing team, because at the end of the day, the opposing team is going to kill us. Then we go about executing our plan, you know, because it's like I said previously, you know, they're killing in self-defense. So when you look at it in that aspect, it's like, okay, well, Gaihun's not really a shitty person because they're going to try and kill them regardless. So Gaihun might as well just like fight back. Does that make sense? Because it's inevitable. There's no choice that he has, you know? Right? Like if Gaihun went about the plan that way, then it would be like, okay, well, Gaihun's not such a bad person. But the fact that he sacrifices his team, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, then, you know. And it's so funny because I forgot which character it was, but like one of the characters like wants to kill like the opposing team, but then Gaihun like puts a stop to it. He's like, no, we're not like that. You know, we're better than that. But it's like, dude, you literally just sacrificed your own team. like what the shit? And like, I'm not saying his team were like innocent people per se, but like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it was his team. You know what I mean? So to a degree, their deaths were definitely like on his hands, you know? Like I wouldn't be surprised if like in season 3, like the front man like really like rubs that in Gaihun, like, hey man, you know, that was like really fucked up of you to do, you know? Because I mean, honestly, it really was. It really was. But see, that's what I love about Squid Game, right? Because that's the whole point. Like us as the viewer, like we're supposed to like think like that. We're supposed to be like, wow, Gaihun, you know, that was really shady of you, you know. And at the end of the day, your plan didn't even work because everyone basically died, you know. But yeah, I do think season 2 was good. I'm excited for season 3. And yes, season 1 is definitely the better season. As a matter of fact, season 1 is probably like some of the best television of all time. And I mean that. But yeah, when it comes to Squid Game as a series, I'm really happy that it's going in a good light, because I am so happy that season 2 wasn't just like a Joker situation. I can't think of other bad sequels, but you know, basically where it's just a cash grab and it kind of just like throws something together and then it's like boom, you know, because then Squid Game would be remembered badly, you know. I can't really think of anything else to say about season 2. Hmm. I did binge watch it. I finished it like in 2 days, I think. But yeah, I think that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you thought about Squid Game in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is season 1 or season 2 better? Are you excited for season 3? What do you want to see season 3? But yeah, that's about it for me. Y'all take care. God bless and much love.